So now that I have unboxed this case, this is the Phanteks NV5. It's the NV5 MKII. It's MKII. It's just a newer version of the NV5 where it supports these cutouts for a back connect type of motherboard. The newer type of motherboards that have back connections, so you can expose the back of the board so that you can plug it in directly instead of routing it through the front, which is much neater for cable management. You can leave the cables in the back. So the case has issues. In my opinion, this case is probably, out of a score of 1 to 10, I might give it a 6 maybe. So a little bit above average. Here's why. So it can fit 8 fans, but it only supports 120mm fans, which means I made a big mistake because my NZXT Elite is a 280, which means that there's two 140 fans, and that means it doesn't fit in this case. Now, I looked on Reddit online and someone was able to fit it in this case, but it doesn't naturally fit in this case. It's not designed to fit in this case, but they were able to finagle it to fit. I think they were able to fit it right here on the side. Top wise, I'm not sure if you were able to fit it on top, but on the side for sure. So I'm gonna try to fit it because I already bought the case and opened it. I can't return it. Oh, that's another thing about Taiwan. You cannot return things easily. You can't just change your mind and return something. Yeah, in the US you can. In the US, even if you open things, you can return them. A lot of the return policy in the US is really, really pro-consumer. But the return policies in Taiwan, and I think most of the world, is far more restraining for the consumer. I would say it's actually pro manufacturer or pro seller. Anyway, so yeah, so I can't return the case. So there's a few other problems I have with the case. So let's talk about some pros. The pro is that the top part, see that? It's easy to remove. The top is just 2 back captive screws. You unlock it, unscrew it, and then you just pull back and it removes. The front glass, I already removed. There's also 2 screws on the side here. They're also captive screws, which is nice, so you don't lose the screws. And then you just pull the glass back. So you just pull it backward this way, and then it'll remove. The front glass cannot be removed easily. You have screws, see right here? 1, 2. So you have to unscrew those 2 screws to remove the front glass. I haven't tried it yet, but I'm assuming that's how it works. I don't see any other screws in here. Not like the end of the world, but if you do want to remove the front glass, it's just more difficult. And I think I know why, because Phanteks didn't mean for you to remove this glass. Because this glass is purely for aesthetics and for viewing the components in your case. So it doesn't really have any other function. A lot of cases allow you, even if they do have a front glass, they allow you to have some kind of mounting mechanism to mount fans in the front. But this case does not. So it doesn't allow you to mount any fans on the front glass, or at least on this side. So you can only mount fans on the side, the back side. I'm gonna call this the back side because that's where you mount the motherboard. You have fans here, and you can have fans on top. So you can have 3 120 fans here, 3 120 fans on top, so that's 6 fans. 1 exhaust fan in the back that's mountable here. There's cutouts here to mount it. And also 120, okay? It won't fit a 140. And here, so this is supposedly their what they call a GPU cooling fan. So you would install a 120 fan here. So altogether, you can only install 8 fans. Now, 8 fans is not bad. I'm not saying only. I shouldn't be saying only. It's quite a few fans. But the bad thing about it is that you can't choose the size of fan. Basically, you're stuck with 120 millimeter fans. So the fans are going to be smaller because 140 obviously will produce more airflow because they're bigger fans. That's just fact. It's basically fact. Unless the fans are just such bad fans, like from some bad manufacturer that just doesn't pull much air, then maybe a 140 won't pull as much. But if all things are equal, power-wise, consumption-wise, then the 140 millimeter fan will always pull more air or push more air, pull and push more air than a 120 fan. And the 120 fan and 140 fan will definitely pull more air than a 90 millimeter fan, for example, right? Yeah. All things being equal, though, like let's say a 90 millimeter fan, if it's spinning faster than like a 120 millimeter fan, then it possibly can't pull in more air. But if the spin speed is the same, you know, yeah, all that stuff's the same, then size matters, okay, with fans. Like this is just fact. This is science, okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be talking about a little bit about thermodynamics and a little bit of science as I grow this channel because I'm really into thermodynamics, and I think it'll be interesting for you guys to hear about it. And we're going to be talking about fans a lot and cooling and heating and things like that affect basically this hobby. There's a reason why there's such emphasis on cooling, because this hobby, oftentimes people try to, I guess, push the limits of the components, and one way to do so is to apply a higher voltage to a component. That's called overclocking. So when you overclock, you know, a GPU or a CPU, you usually apply a little bit more voltage gradually, obviously, and see if everything remains stable. So obviously all this depends on like the quality of silicon you get to from a chip. Like, so if your CPU, if you have bad luck, you can't push that CPU beyond its you know, specifications. But sometimes if you're lucky, you get what we call winning the silicon lottery. You get a chip that just is able to absorb more heat and more electricity, more voltage, and it will still run and run faster because you're basically overclocking it. You're making it run faster by just putting more voltage into it, applying more voltage. Now, that could obviously damage your components, because one thing about thermodynamics is that when you apply electricity to something, there's going to be heat. You're going to generate more heat because things are not purely in the real world. You know, things are not 100% efficient, so you're going to lose energy through heat. The byproduct of the energy loss is heat. So that's why our cases heat up. That's why CPUs heat up. That's why GPUs heat up. That's why components heat up. And that's why we have to keep these components in the right, in a good range of temperature. Because if they hit a certain temperature, so usually above 100 Celsius, a lot of components actually can survive that nowadays. They're tested to do that, to hit even above that and survive. But we don't want our components to be always hitting 100 Celsius, okay? We want everything to be below that. In general, you know, maybe 60 to 80 degrees is that sweet spot range where you want to keep all your components between. Anything above 80, and a lot of things do go above 80, they might even hit 90, and you're probably generally safe at 90, but I mean, I prefer things to be in the 80 range, you know, if it runs hot. And if it's able to run very cool, then it will be in the 60s even, okay? And obviously under load, so you're playing a very intense game with high or ultra settings, you know, high graphic fidelity, high frame rates, you're gonna tax your GPU, you're gonna tax your CPU and your components. So that's when these temperatures can rise, right? Or you're doing some productivity tasks that are really taxing. You're doing some kind of like, I don't know, high level, graphic design or, graphic editing or video editing. You might tax your components to the point where they get overheated. So, in this channel, we're gonna be talking about like how even your case will affect the temperatures in your components, and how airflow can help with that. We remove heat from the case, because you don't want heat to remain in your case, right? Then your overall your components are going to be generally hotter. If you can expel the heat easily, then so in general, that's what's said by reviewers on YouTube when we talk about like an effective case. So in general, an effective case is a case that allows for heat to be removed from the case easily and allow cool air to enter the case and allow hot air to exit the case. So that's in general what we mean by an effective case design. Now, there's other ways to kind of say a case is effective. For example, you can say, well, a case is easy to use, like meaning that like I can remove the side panel easily. So that makes the case effective too, right? But the most important part of a case is, in the functionality at least, is how it's able to keep components cool. Okay. So one bad thing about this case is that, see these screws? They're aluminum, I believe. So they're nicely made. Quality's okay. But, so I can unscrew them, but look, they're not captive. So they just pop right out. And so you can lose these. So, I mean, the nicer cases, they'll be like captive at least, and you can like remove these brackets. See, these brackets are steel brackets. Oh, just drop one. So why did that just fall? Because I loosened the screw and then it just fell off. So another thing, if this was captive, I don't think it would have fallen off like that. But like, yeah, some cases just don't provide the nicer captive ones. Now they provide captive screws on top and the side for removal, panel removal, which is nice, but for some reason here they didn't want to do that. They wanted to kind of cheap out on the screws a little bit. So can I do this with one hand? I believe so. Cannot. I can. Yes. So I just screw this back in. And then notice that screwing it back in is not easy. So the screw holes are not like perfectly aligned. I mean, they're aligned okay. I can screw them in, but I had to use a screwdriver. I can't use my hand. It's hard to apply a good enough pressure to get them in there. So I think just the fact that these are just like, they're just not the greatest design. And I noticed that I had to loosen the screws using a screwdriver. I couldn't use my hands because they were so tight initially when I first opened the case. Yeah, so that's why I'm keeping them loose right now. Yeah, so oh shoot, I just unscrewed the whole screw. So yeah, now if I go back in, it'll be more difficult. Oh, okay. It's easier without the panel. See that? So without this panel, then it's easier to kind of go in. But with the panel here, if I try to do it with this on, this bracket, I mean, with the bracket on, it's harder to screw it in. So this is definitely one negative about this case. And the build quality, I think I'm satisfied with it. It's definitely above average. It's not like phenomenal in any way. Like, I don't feel like it's super cheap or anything. It's still solid. You know, like everything's solid steel. it's not the thickest steel, but you don't want it to be too thick too, because that might affect thermals and also weight. I did notice that this is a heavier case than like your NZXT equivalent. So I had originally bought like an I think it's called an H5 Flow, and that case was super light and flimsy, so I returned it. But I returned it because I didn't open it, so I was able to return it. So that case is definitely probably even worse in build quality in this case. Yeah, so I don't see any flexing. It's pretty strong. The front glass is thick. It's at least 5 millimeters thick glass. It's tempered glass. But this is, you can tell this is the kind of glass that you definitely see in aquariums. So this is like, you know, these aquarium cases, they literally are aptly named because the glass they use is literally the same type of glass they use in aquariums. So, which, you know, it's strong glass because, you know, for an aquarium to survive the pressure, the water pressure that's constantly against the glass, aquarium glass, you know, it needs to be pretty strong. So it's definitely, you know, it's definitely good glass for a PC. It's way good enough. Another nice thing about the case, you have some nice, you know, rubber grommets here for cable routing. You know, these are always kind of cool looking. I mean, aesthetically, they're pleasing. And, you know, they feel nice. They're rubbery. I don't know. I kind of like the feel rubber. That kind of sounds weird, but rubber feels good. It doesn't feel weird to me. It feels kind of nice. This shroud has this like plastic piece here. I'm not sure if this lights up or you had to buy an RGB kit to light this up. I'm not sure. This might just light up automatically, but I read the instructions online and I think you might need like a DRGB kit that's sold separately, okay? And it comes with a controller too. So, you know, one major bonus about this case that I didn't even know came with it was this GPU bracket. So this bracket is steel. It's nice, and it seems to be attached well too with these nice aluminum screws. So this bracket I'm definitely satisfied with, and it's gonna do a good job. It doesn't look cheap at all. It's nice. I'd say this bracket retail price, if you were buy this separately, it's at least $30. Yeah, you know, a company might have the audacity to sell a bracket like this for like more than that, but I think for me, it shouldn't be more than $30. At $30, it's exorbitant already. It's expensive. Hopefully, it wouldn't cost that much. It would cost like $20 or less. But I could see Phanteks selling this bracket. I'm not saying they do. I don't know if they do or not, but I can see them selling this separately for like $30. Yeah. So I can see how, like, you know, your card would, like, you know, sit here. That Zotac card I have back there, it's very short. It's like 200 millimeters, a little bit more than 200 millimeters, I believe. So will I even need this bracket? I have no idea. I have to see. Like, it might not even reach this part of the case. Now, I think it will. I hope it will, because I think even though it doesn't need a bracket, it would look much nicer on this bracket. Imagine that card being situated here and it just like hangs right here before the bracket. That would be bad. That would look terrible, because you have the bracket and then you have a card that doesn't even reach it. Now, obviously the good thing is the bracket is removable, so I can just remove it and then it'll look better. But, you know, I want to use the bracket, and it's one of the selling points of the case, actually, that it comes with a nice bracket. Yeah, I feel like this case, one of the reasons why this case is not like a budget, I wouldn't consider this a budget case. This is a case that's like, I would say it's like a mid-level case, meaning that the price is about $100 retail. Now this case probably you can get for under. I think it's like maybe $80. You can probably find it for $80 or maybe even cheaper on a good day, a sale day. But like, I know that I paid $100 for this case on maybe a little less, maybe like 90 in Taiwan. Okay, and it was on sale. Okay, so I got a good deal on it. But like, if it wasn't on sale, I think it would be like $100. Yeah, in Taiwan. Now, this is the MK2, so it's not the original NV5. So it does have more features. It has the cutouts here for the new motherboards, back connects. And I don't know if the original NV5 came with this bracket. I think it did. Yeah, I think it did. But like, you know, so I think these features, you know, allow them to charge a little more for it. It becomes more of a mid-tier case. I wouldn't consider this a premium case. For me, a premium case starts at like 120 and higher, maybe 150 even, for it to be more premium level. And obviously a $200 case definitely needs to be very premium if I'm gonna spend that kind of money. So recently I saw a video on Gamers Nexus, which is I highly recommend that channel. Steve is a great reviewer and he knows his stuff. Anyway, so Gamers Nexus reviewed a few days ago, I believe, what's called a Haven case. Haven's a new company, and I think they were formed by, this is from Gamers Nexus, they were formed by former employees of like NZXT and different case manufacturers, okay? I think even Fractal people went over there. So you can tell, because you can tell they have experience building cases, and the Haven case looks really nice. Like, I think even Gamers Nexus was impressed by it. It didn't beat, it wasn't like the #1 case for like thermals for cooling, but like it was like, it came in like at least top 5, I think. Just, it was pretty good, decent case. And aesthetically, it was really nice too. It looked really nice. So it's like kind of like a really kind of ideal case. And I'm not sure it's on sale yet. I haven't been able to find it anywhere. But it's probably not on sale yet publicly. But if I do get my hands on that case, I probably will invest $200 into it, because this case I'm already kind of unsatisfied with. I'm very picky with cases. Yeah, so I think, I'm not saying this is a bad case, but I think it's a pretty average to a little bit above average case. Like, I would give this case a 6 out of a 10. And yeah, it doesn't have any egregious issues. I mean, I guess some of the things I mentioned here, this is not easy to remove the PCIe stops, the brackets. The front glass, not easy to remove, and it serves very little functionality other than just a viewport and aesthetics. So like, you know, you can't put fans there, which is definitely a missed opportunity. I think it would be nice to put fans, to be able to put fans there. There should have been some kind of bracket here, like some kind of fan bracket or frame that you can still attach fans to it. Now, you might be wondering, so if I have fans against glass, how does that work, right? So of course that doesn't work, right? So, but a lot of case manufacturers, they give you an option where they give you the front glass as an option, and they also give you another mesh panel. So if they just gave us another mesh panel to replace this glass, then you can definitely incorporate fans in the front. So that's a missed opportunity there, because I know quite a few manufacturers are now including both a front glass and a mesh panel. So they give you a choice, and then you can just like swap them out if you want like more cooling or less cooling, you know. But this doesn't give you that choice. This only cares about aesthetics, basically. Yeah, at least for the front. And I'm not sure how effective a bottom fan will be here. Yeah, it might not be too effective actually, because the Haven case has some kind of like curved piece here, like a glass piece, where they also have a bottom fan bracket, and but it's very interesting design where the fan blows against this glass, and then it kind of funnels the air toward the GPU. So it's like it's directing air toward the GPU. With it here, how much of the air hits the GPU, I'm not sure, because the GPU is, most of the GPU is going to be here, above this metal piece here, which worries me, because if you have a GPU right here on the bottom here with the three this part, which is probably where you probably will have it actually. I'm not sure, but it could be right here. It might not have enough space clearance between this shroud and the bottom, the GPU, which will mean that there's not going to be that much airflow there. There's going to be trapped hot air, and it's going to overheat your GPU, probably. I'm just guessing. Yeah, so this shroud is a problem. Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, it's nice. It covers the PSU, it hides it, which makes it aesthetically more pleasing. Now, I like GPUs. I like the way they look, especially look at this one. The one I have, it's really cool looking. But like some GPUs definitely look ugly, so you do want to hide them. But then some GPUs look cool, so I mean, you might want to show off your GPU. I mean, not GPU, your PSU. Sorry about that. So yeah, some PSUs look cool nowadays, right? They're designed well. They're even colored according to your case. Like they could be coming white or other colors even. So you know, you might want to show off your PSU even, but this case allows you to hide it in the shroud. But this shroud seems pretty solid. There is a hole here for airflow and here for, but this is more for like wiring coming in, and this part, I'm not sure if this part's for wiring or here for, but I guess it could be for both. You know, is this enough to give the GPU enough air here to kind of clearance here to have the GPU cool off? You know, we don't know. Not sure. So, you know, I'm curious about testing this case. But obviously for now, I'm keeping the case. Can't be wasting money like that, just buying cases randomly and just like not liking them, or like, you know, getting rid of them really quickly. But obviously this is a review channel too, so I'm going to, you know, I'm not going to be keeping cases for too long. Like I might keep a case for max 1 year, and then maybe switch cases, so you guys have more variety, right? Like you're not just like always seeing my existing case, you know, the one that I've had for a year or something like that. Yeah, so I think maximum I'm going to keep this case as 1 year. That might be even too long. So yeah. So yeah, I think I give this case a 6 out of 10. So I'm not gonna, it's not a, I wouldn't, I think I would recommend it if you have a back motherboard, back connector motherboard, obviously, because it's functional. If you have a long GPU, you need, you know, you want it to include a bracket, a nice bracket. This is definitely one of the pluses about this case. If you want an aquarium type case with two, which is what I wanted. I wanted 2 pieces of clear glass, so you have very high visibility into your components, because I want to show off the components, okay? Not just to show off the components to my friends, because that's actually, the chance of that happening is much lower because they're not going to be coming over all the time. It's more like showing off my components to myself, because I want to see my components. I want to see how they're functioning, right? If they're functioning effectively, I want to see everything working, because I like to see it. You know, it's something that makes me happy, right? I want to see the fan spinning and the RGB and everything just like clicking, right? I want to see everything moving and working. Yeah, I want to see the GPU working. I want to see the CPU working, you know, all that stuff. I want to see the coolers working, whether it's a water cooler or a fan cooler, air cooler. So yeah, I mean, I want to see everything working together. I just want to experience that. That makes me happy. It's one of the reasons why you want to, if you want to build your own computer or PC, to me, it's like, if you don't want to, if you don't care about all that stuff, like seeing all the components working together, then why build a computer even, right? It's just, yeah, then you just have someone else build it for you, or just like buy a pre-built. and then just, if you all you care about just playing games or just using the computer, then I think you don't need to build your own computer, right? But I'm not like that. I want to build. Like my joy, the joy I get from building it is probably even more than the joy I get playing it, using it. Yeah. I mean, I do enjoy playing games, obviously, and working on my computer. But I think that one of the joys of doing this hobby, of having this hobby, is just, it's actually building it and tinkering with it, like improving it as time goes by. Let's say you can't afford all the fans right now. You can buy a few fans and then end up buying 8 at the end, right? Or let's just say you have only a budget for an air cooler. That's fine, use it for now, and then if you can save up for a water cooler, then buy a water cooler when you have the money, right? Yeah, or updating the graphics card because you need a better graphics card, or the CPU, right, for just a speedier experience, better experience. Even the PSU could matter, right? Yeah, so everything can be upgradable. Even the case can be upgradable, obviously. So yeah, I think that, well, a part of the fun of this hobby, and obviously this obviously can be, you know, time consuming, and obviously it could hurt your pockets, right? I mean, it's gonna be expensive hobby, but like that's what a hobby does, right? Hobby, you spend money on a hobby, right? You generally do. Yeah, I mean, very few hobbies you can do where there's no money spent or very little money spent. And obviously I'm a YouTuber now, so I have to basically give you guys more content. And I'm not just gonna like review one build and then stop, right? Yeah, I'm gonna try to, you know, go into details about the build, right? Like, which I am now, but like, I can't just like do one build a year and then expect for my subscribers to be constantly be subscribing to me, or new subscribers, right? I mean, I'm gonna have to provide more new content. Yeah, so I think that for me, obviously, I'm forced to invest in these components now. Now, obviously, you know, you guys can help me with this, right? I mean, by any contribution you guys can make. I mean, right now, the channel has so few subscribers, I can't even monetize the channel. So all you guys can do just to help me, just by liking the videos, subscribing, commenting, just interacting with the channel is the best thing you can do. Watching the videos all the way through. I know these videos are long, like some of them are like half an hour, right, or more. So it would be great if you guys can just watch as much as you can. Like, don't skip the video. Like, try to watch it through, or keep it in the background running, even if you find the content boring. You know, just, I'm pretty sure you're getting something out of it, though. If you're just watching the whole video, you're gonna get something out of it. You're gonna get some new information about, you know, these cases, or about components, about how I feel about these components. Yeah. Okay, so thank you again for coming and visiting the channel. This has been a long video about unboxing this case and this case review. Next, I'm going to be installing the motherboard into the case and the PSU, and hopefully get this thing up and running. Yeah. All right, have a great day. Thank you for watching again.